take the other case, central bank has credibility. Okay. Now let's try to change the student here. Dea.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There. So here I notice you can see it's 1,3 is the equilibrium, right?
Yeah.
Suppose you are central bank, will you move?
Move. Yes, I will move.
You will move.
Yeah.
To where?
to 2,1.
2,1, right? Okay. Now let me ask the other player, the other student, sorry. Livia.
Yes, sir.
Where are you? Okay. All right. So if you are the firm, will you move?
Yes.
Will you move? Why?
I'm sorry, from the equilibrium?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, from the equilibrium.
as a firm, I'm gonna say I won't go.
You will or you will not? I didn't hear you.
I will not.
You will not. Why?
Because 3 to 0 is not, I don't think I would move.
Correct. Correct. So here is the difference between the earlier case and this case here. Okay. So if you look at this case before here, okay. Okay, here, notice that your equilibrium is basically not Pareto efficient, correct?
Correct.
Now, if you look at this, is it Pareto efficient? Is this equilibrium Pareto efficient? 1,3.
No.
It's not Pareto efficient. So which one is Pareto efficient in this case?
I would say it's Pareto efficient because the total output adds up to 4.
Yes, it is Pareto efficient, right? And yet, I forgot who is Dea earlier, right? When you are the central bank, you want to move, right? So it's not equilibrium and yet Pareto efficient, right? So why then it is called equilibrium? Then this is an example where the central bank has to do something so that they can they can persuade the firm not to make a move, or the other way around, firm have to do something so that the central bank does not want to make a move here. Now in this case, when I'm asking the central bank wants to move, right? Because if they move, they from 1 they get 2, right? But in the case of firm, you don't want to move, right? So now the question here is that what can you think about any strategies that will bring the economy into 1,3? So there is no movement from 1,3.
I think there is a problem with your connection, Prof.
Not to raise the price.
Oh.
Yeah, I have some problem with my connection.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Can you think about any measure or any strategy or approach that can be taken?
Can you repeat the question, sir? Because I have some.
Okay, 1,3. Basically, it's not equilibrium, right? Because I think I was asking you earlier as a central bank. You said you want to move, right? From 1 to 2, correct?
Yes.
So that means it's not equilibrium, because by definition, equilibrium is only if you don't want to move, right?
Yes.
And yet, Ingrid mentioned it is Pareto efficient because the sum is equals to 4. So my question here is that how can we make 1,3 is the solution, the equilibrium. Or another way of saying is that, can you think of any approach in such that central bank will not move? Will not raise the money supply?
Notice the money supply. Yeah, central bank will better not to raise the price because the firm will get benefit.
Well, it's not clear to me. Let me repeat the question. 1,3 is the ideal solution. And yet, from the story earlier, it's not equilibrium, right? So the question here is that what kind of measure or movement or strategy that make the central bank do not want to move? Because the reason why 1,3 is not equilibrium is because the central bank wants to move, right? So how can we make the central bank not to move? That is, how can we make the central bank not to raise the money supply, basically?
Oh, because of inflation.
Okay, that's a good point, because you know, if we are informing the central bank, if you raise the money supply, inflation will be even higher. So that will hopefully persuade the central bank not to move, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But is that realistic story? Yes, it is realistic story, right? Because central bank knows if they increase the money supply, it will be inflationary. So it is realistic story. So what is not realistic is in this example, in this game theory example, it's not realistic, because the example here is that the central bank wants to raise the money supply, but being a good macroeconomic student, you learn that central bank hates the inflation. That means the central bank do not want to increase the money supply. Is that clear, Dia? Okay.
Yes, it's clear.
All right. So honestly, I intentionally make this example so that it will be sort of forcing you to think. I don't want you to see game theory only as a game of a number. I want you to think game theory as a tool for macroeconomics. And you answer correctly. From the macroeconomic standpoint, that's not realistic, because more realistic is that any central banks hate to increase the money supply because it will be inflationary. Okay?